Okay. Good evening and welcome to our June regular meeting of the Bay City ISD Board of Trustees. This is our regularly scheduled meeting. Members of the public are permitted to address the board in person during each board meeting. Speakers must sign up in advance of the meeting. And so if you haven't signed up, here's your last chance. I do have one person signed up so far. If you wish to submit a request or comment on any agenda item or non-agenda item for the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, fill out the form that's found out in the hallway, or you can email Linda Strada and she distributes those to the rest of the board. So we do have a quorum present tonight with one trustee absent. Trustee West will not be with us, so we have 6 members present. And I've asked Trustee DeWitt to lead us in our invocation, and Trustee Murray will then follow that and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. So everyone sings.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you, Lord, in the name of Jesus. And Father, we just thank you for today and for everyone in attendance. Father, for our duty to be here, Lord God. And we just thank you as that you bless Bay City ISD, Lord God, our state and our nation as well. Father, have your hand over our community, Lord, over our family and friends. Guide us, Father, and protect us and direct us in everything. And Lord God, we ask that your hand is over us today as we make decisions concerning our school district. We thank you for health in our bodies. We thank you for the joy of the Lord as our strength. Father, we just thank you for what you do in our lives every single day, and for all your blessings that are bestowed upon us. For it's in Christ's name we pray. And everyone said amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, our favorite part of every meeting, celebration of excellence. And so we have our Chief Communications Officer, Grant Galliard, who's going to kick off the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. As we've talked about in the last few weeks, Bay City ISD offers just incredible opportunities for our students, and it's always really fun to celebrate those. I believe earlier this year we celebrated some of our students that earned welding certificates. We have some more now. We're just really, really excited to see all the things they've accomplished through the programs we offer at Bay City High School. So, Ms. Reyes, you'll help me award.
Some of our students cannot be here because they're working. That is a great story
That's a
to
good
tell.
reason.
Exactly.
Great.
And so my older students, sometimes I work, sometimes I'm very thankful. And I want to thank my parents also for allowing me the opportunity to serve you babies. So Erin Quiroga, if you can please come here. Diego Verduzco. Pase, por favor. Pueden ponerse aquí, gracias. Ángel Vázquez. So mom is here to receive his diploma. Marlene Castillo Mejía. If you ever want to see them, come to the shop and you see the ladies with their jackets. Oscar Rodriguez Martinez. Karen Lopez. Adrian Garcia. Marion Ford.
give him one more round of applause. Please come forward, we'll take a picture with 4 members of his grade. I forgot my camera.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. All good? No, that's That concludes our presentation.
And thanks, man, for giving us something to laugh at as we were taking.
Heading up your meeting.
Genuine smiles there, so. Super excited about the opportunities that we have in Bay City ISD for all of our students. And to think, you know, a welding certificate and a skill that they can take out to the world and day one after they graduate, be productive and earn a living and good living at that. So, thank you to the administration and the teachers and the welding teachers and the community for coming out and supporting your kids. Thank you all for being here tonight. And just one more round of applause for us. Okay, audience with patrons. And so we have one signed up, Nathaniel Lee. The floor is yours, and 3 minutes. Speak to the board. We cannot respond to you. You may ask us a question, and we can only respond with a clarifying statement or make a clarifying question. But if there's a specific position or person you want to complain about, please don't say their name. Other than that, the floor is yours. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Scott and some of his board members for coming out to my thing that I'm trying to do in my community for my people. And well done, Ms. Reyes. And well done to the kids that received the awards. Keep your heads up, be strong, and don't be afraid to tell somebody when something's wrong, okay? First of all, I'd like to, this is for Ms. Priscilla. That's who I want to talk about, whether I can or not, Mr. James.
You can, yes.
Ms. Priscilla, that's where I get what I'm doing right now in my community. I think she's been with the school over 40 years, maybe longer than that. I'm 47, I know I look 18 right now. But she's been with a nonprofit for 10 years. She's been to 1,000 community things, business things. She's always showing up and showing out. And she inspired me. Because I told you once before, the first time I came, I was nervous, but guess what? I'm going to be Harriet Tubman this time. I'm just going to say whether I know you or not know you. I feel comfortable this time, so I'm going to try to be at every one of these meetings because when I have my events in my community, I'm going to tell the parents, don't make no complaint about Bay City ISD, what they not doing. If you don't show up at the meetings that they put on Facebook, they'll put in the paper, however y'all communicate with some people to come up to the school board meetings. I don't want to hear about it. That's what I'm talking to my people about right now. In our community, Denny Robertson be down the street. Y'all doing a good job around here. All of y'all got big responsibilities. I had to research, like I was doing an English 1301 essay. Try to pick out some backgrounds and what all y'all doing, what all y'all representing. It's really a hard type of job to keep up with trying to please everyone. But if someone was to ask me today, would I like to be a part of what y'all doing? my answer would be hell no. Because if it take me 30 years and I'm 47, how old will I be in 30 years? I don't know. But God, if I live, if I go, I know where I'm going. I wouldn't want to be a part of it because it seems like every time I come, this is my second meeting, it's either going up or it's going down, but I like the kids that receive those certificates. We have to do better. You see how the world is going right now? They're making it like it's a black and white thing or whatever. I don't care about color. My skin turns all the time. I change my wigs, pink, purple, turquoise. I want to be every color that the Lord has allowed me to be. And I can speak Spanish if I have to. I'm not dumb at all. But I would like Miss Priscilla name to be honored at your new school. Like when I worked for the hospital district, I had so many complaints, and guess what? One morning I walked in there, getting ready to clock in, and guess whose name was on the wall? Angela Davidson. And guess what my name is again? When you go into the emergency room, me and my family got a plaque there. You know, it was hard to earn a plaque to see people die and see people come in the hospital with being sick and no family. All they have is you coming inside. That's just like the little kids going to school. Some of them can't speak no English, and some teacher or somebody be done something wrong, and they don't know how to tell Dr. Scott, Mr. James, Ms. Westmoreland, somebody did something to me. And then they go tell a parent that can't hardly speak Spanish. All they know is how to teach their kids. How do y'all direct something like that? Do y'all go out into the Spanish communities? Do y'all come on our communities? I really would like y'all to see coming to the communities, at least, I have my black market 4 times, at least coming to the communities to see what's going on and take some of the parents' advice of new things y'all can do. Y'all doing a well job, because like I said, I went to the old schools. These new schools, and they get those college credits, that is amazing what y'all doing, Mr. James and Miss Priscilla and Dr. Scott. Y'all doing a good job. But it's very, very hard. Because when I was reading the Government Texas agenda for how school board meetings and how the administration and the people on the board, how it works, y'all really, really have a hell of a job to do. But I like to thank each and every one of y'all for what y'all doing. I graduated from Bay City High School. All 3 of my kids graduated from Bay City High School. And I have a son, Kobe, he's special. Kobe Eaton. He went to the Bridges program, which was real nice, and Megan Clegg was a very good supporter of those kids. She let me know every time they went somewhere, every time something came up with the COVID, she was texting me, somebody's got the COVID, don't let COVID come to school. And I thought that was real nice of her to try to keep up with special children and also telling the parent what they need to do and what's going on. So y'all guys do a hell of a job. I want to be not a part of the board. I take that back. But I like to be a part of somebody from my community just to tell them, you know, don't complain about, I think the school should be doing this if you're not standing up here at these meetings or sitting in the chair. Okay? And I thank each and every one of y'all. God bless y'all families. And we'll change. It might not change like we wanted it to take one day at a time. And it hurts the hell out of me the way things going right now. It really, really do. Because I have been over backwards for anybody. Somebody say, Angie, can I have this wig? I'll take it right out and give it to me. Because that's the kind of person I am. Dr. Scott, all your water went. Somebody was out there selling water. You gave water. All that water was gone. And it was very successful, my event. So I would like our community to come out to some of these board meetings to really know what's going on with the school, because y'all do an amazing job. Thank each and every one of y'all. And it's hard because you got a family to take care of when you leave the school. You got to cook, and you have, how many, 4 little kids? and she got some twins. I don't know how you talk to twins. But I think that Miss Priscilla needs to be honored for all that she does. I know it's probably time for you to be getting up out of here. You gonna let me sit there? No, I don't want to. I keep my stuff in my community. But y'all guys do a hell of a job, and y'all all appreciate it, and I know that be the first thing y'all say. Somebody's not telling us, thank us enough. Well, I'm telling each and every one of y'all, I don't know nothing about none of y'all. I don't even know him personally, but he's been coming to support me at my events, because I asked him and I talked to him. He don't know me. I'm really a low-down person. I'm a Harriet Tubman type of chick, but I'm trying to do better. That's how I start with an individual. You started and see how it go, and then that's how you change your life. But y'all do good, and I thank God for y'all. And when y'all said the prayer, that's a really good thing, because that's most of all, prayer is good. And God gonna continue y'all to bless y'all. It's gonna be more funding for y'all. Y'all just wait on it, because it's coming. Thank you.
Okay. Monthly bond project update report. Our presenter is Christina Marrera of Claiborne and Associates. Christina, how are you tonight? Very well.
Good evening, and happy Father's Day. You should have a time to update. I think one here, areas, and then there were a few extras out there. But starting from the pictures, bottom left, going up to the right. The bottom one is the media center's desk. The flooring is actually not shown there, but the carpet has already been installed. The second one is the gymnasium, so we're looking towards the center building. The next one is the media center book, without the graphics. Those will be installed within the next month. During the last month, we have the board and the Roberts family want the building. The next picture is the corridors, the custom corridors for Claiborne and learning centers. And then last is the stage looking at it from the night center towards the gymnasium. And then last month, the ceiling panels throughout the building, the decorated ones and the typical principal ones were installed, the casework was complete, the plastic laminate wall panels were complete, carpet in the administration media center was installed, the kitchen, electrical and plumbing was completed, and the fire alarm and elevator got inspected and both inspections passed. And on the side, the flatboard, all the sidewalks and furnishings have been installed. In the next month, the flooring finish should be completed. The scoreboards and bleachers as well. Landscape, once the PCO gets approved and signed, that's moving forward as well. The fence was already getting installed today. They have 2 to 3 more days. The parking lot striping, that is needed for the fire department to do the walkthrough and make sure, through their fire drill, make sure that the building and that the fire truck can reach everything. The exterior lighting should be completed in the next month, and installation of all building graphics and the test and balance of the mechanical systems. As of today, the substantial completion is July 2nd as the latest, and June 28th as the earliest. But let's say it's July 2nd. Yes, sir. Then moving dates have not changed. July 12th, the interactive panels will be getting installed. The furniture will be delivered on site on the 12th, and assembly will be done on site. The administration moving date is still July 26th, and the t-shirt moving date will be August 2nd. Any questions?
So at this point, there's nothing like when we were dealing with the stadium, there was always electric hookup, right, getting AEP on site. That was an unknown that could put us out 2 weeks, 4 weeks, we didn't know. There's nothing left that can push this date out. I mean, we're gonna move in, right?
Yeah, you will, yes. That basically the dates are counting in case there's a slight delay in one thing or the inspection, that the inspection is not passed and something needs to be fixed, there is time accounting for that.
Okay. And we're not gonna have any construction work in the building when we start school next year. And they can come on Saturday and Sunday and after 5.
Well,
have anything left, it's gonna be the minor punch list, touch this, touch that. The actual inner workings of the school.
I know we had a lot of hard hats walking around last year.
So,
Yeah, this one, I don't know if you have been recently, but basically in the last few weeks, there has been so much progress. Yeah, and they're starting to get all the trash out or the extra material, and you can see the difference. So, yeah.
so Christina, we're actually having a meeting with the Roberts team on Wednesday. And I would like to confidently share these dates with them. With all sincerity, is it going to be the dates that you just told us? And Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Moving dates are not.
all right, because we don't want, as the board president said, we don't want a lot of hard hats moving around. We've already experienced that. And again, in this situation, we still have a school that we can use until it's appropriate to move in. I don't want to tell the staff one thing and then it changes and then I'm in trouble. I don't know if you've ever been in trouble with a bunch of teachers, but it's not a fun thing.
I have not.
I would invite you to that type of meeting. I want to make sure whatever I'm telling them is the best information that we have. So we're looking like it'll only be punch list possibly when we move in.
For example, the different timelines, Friday before T held up, we passed CO, fire, and elevator, all of that Friday before. We've already passed fire, we've already passed elevator, and we're doing the CO on the 7th. So that just tells you, even then, from the time of CO, everything into your punch list. So even before school started, I had 5 weeks of working on punch list.
And today, like I said, I actually started doing some of the punch lists, there was some we completed. Basically, I went ahead and started with it, so if they have information earlier, it's better for them to tackle it while they have the labor force on site.
Thank you.
When did you say that last inspection is?
We're scheduled for July 2nd.
July 2nd.
And please refresh my memory regarding the AC and the heat calibration. All that's been, has that been done already?
So the test amount is actually started last week.
Start on 14.
14? Okay, all right, good, good.
Stress testing it now. Oh.
It's a little warm. ERCOT's not very happy with what we're doing, but we're getting it.
And there are areas very cold and some of them very warm, so they're really good at that. So that's, I mean, that portion of City Hall started while the building was basically.
It started after,
Yeah.
so we started that on June 14th.
Okay, very good.
And
The
they're
question-
saying all HVAC controls will be final that July 16th.
July 16th, okay, great. And then the last thing I had was, when everything is done, before the kids start coming to school and everything else, and the grass starts growing where the dirt has been leveled out, is somebody gonna go over that with a fine tooth comb? Because I know there was a couple of instances where there was rebar on the Tenny Homes side, and we just don't want any kids, we have small kids over at Lady Roberts.
We will go through and we will put the sod down in place, the places that do get hydro mold. We will fine grade, get all the stuff out. Rain will expose some more of it over time, and as it is exposed,
Okay. Because I know it's probably around where the concrete is poured, whenever they
Yeah.
put a rebar poured, that type of, okay.
it lays up and down,
Yes,
storage area, buried in mud.
absolutely, okay.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We're just gonna give a minute for anybody who wants to, leave, but we'll be moving into item 7, our items of business. A will be a public hearing to discuss the 2021-2022 budget. Our presenter is Rick Johnson, the Chief Financial Officer, and just as a reminder, this is a public hearing, and so we're not going to take any action until we get to the next item, but Rick's got some of the updated numbers for us to put on the screen, and if you have any questions or discussion, feel free to.
Good evening.
Good evening, Rick.
Okay, this is our public meeting for the budget that's required for every school district in the state to have a public meeting. So therefore, if anybody, please ask any questions you want as we go through. You can stop me when I'm talking, or feel free to interject. Or so. The projected maintenance operation INS revenue, the projected 21-22 expenditure budget revenue with TASB models will be on the next slide. And there's an estimate of 21-22 expenditure budget revenue if an attendance increases. So the last workshop, I was asked to estimate if attendance rates increase from where we are today at the historical values of 94% approximately, and what would happen to the revenue. But this first screen here, slide, shows in the first column, if the board chooses not to vote a raise, then this is what happens. So the $34,858,717 would be the revenue, and this is based upon $3,155.88, which is where we are right now in the school district currently. So your total M&O expenditures would be $38,815,000, and the revenue would be $34.8 million. The projected deficit would be $3.9 million, $3,957,000. So the fund balance I'm estimating for this school year we're completing at the end would be $11,500,000. And if you apply the deficit of $3,957,000, then the projected fund balance, if all these figures turn out to be exact, our fund balance would be $7.5 million, $7,542,000. And the optimum fund balance is 3 months of operating, so the optimum fund balance would be approximately $12 million. And on interest and sinking, that's another tax rate that the board adopts. And also the tax rate on M&O would be projected to be 95.25%, 90.9525, and then for INS it's 0.4889, which is just shy of 50 cents. So therefore, the estimated local revenue for INS, which is interest and sinking is the fund that we use to pay our bonded debt. And our surplus in that fund would be $730,524 at the end of the year, which would be a projected fund balance of $3.4 million in the INS fund area. But we actually contracted with TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards, and they have projected 3 raise models: Model 1, Model 2, and Model 3. And Model 1 would be what would the effect be with a 1% raise. Model 2 would be effect with a 2% raise. And Model 3 would be effect with a 3% raise. So if you, in the middle of the screen there, if you look at the cost of the 1% raise would cost us $328,000, which would leave us a projected deficit of $4.2 million, $4,285,000. Model 2 would be a 2% raise, which would cost $556,000, which would leave us with a projected deficit of $4,500,000. And Model 3 is a 3% raise, cost of $808,000, would leave us with a projected deficit for the end of the next school year of $4,765,000. Now, if this next slide would be what would happen if we were able to increase our attendance rate. Currently, at the end of this year, our attendance rate for this school year we just completed was 91.38%. And if we historically increase it to we're able to increase to 94%, that would generate an additional approximate $426,000 worth of revenue. And then I've adjusted the deficit based upon if that would happen as of what the deficit would be at the end of next school year. Then, I'm gonna run through the school budgets are adopted by function in the state of Texas. So I'm gonna run through the functions as we propose them to be with the 2021 budget. So function 11 is instruction. We're predicting there will be proposing or I guess projected, the right word, $20,963,000. And this is also with no raise. These functions were with no raise applied. So for function 11, which is instruction, we would incur $20,963,000, which for that particular function we're projecting to decrease $261,000. Function 12, which is instructional resources and media services, otherwise known as the library, it would be projecting $375,500, which is a decrease of $27,792. Function 13, $377,254, which is curriculum development and staff development. We sometimes refer to it as professional development. So that's approximately, basically projecting to be even from one year to the next. And then function 21 is instructional leadership. We're projecting a $14,500 decrease in that function, which is $466,600. Function 23, school leadership, and we're projecting an increase of $8,000, which would be $2,365,927. 31 guidance, which is counselors, $980,258, or a decrease of $203,800. We had and that's due to attrition in that function. And then function 32, which is social work, would increase $187,522. And we have a program that we're involved in, that we're expanding to other campuses. All the campuses would be an increase of $50,000. And then function 33, $491,650, decrease of $9,278. Mainly because we receive money from the federal government through the state for kids that are actually qualify for Medicaid. So therefore, the cost of that program that is run by Houston ISD that we contract with, we have a decrease there on our contracted services of $51,000, and that's the reason for that. In function 34, we're budgeting $1,044,000 and $124,000 increase. Currently, our plan is to continue to have monitors on each one of the routes going forward, and so that's the primary reason of the increase there. And also, we are purchasing additional route software, which will enable a parent to be able to check in real time where their child is on the route. So it's sort of like a GPS. It's a great thing. And food service 35, that's just a fee that part of the kind of accounting deal where we had to pay for TRS on behalf for the food service program that needs to be posted on a local budget of $1,000. Function 36, which is co-curricular activities, total for that function is $1,452,740, which is an increase of $141,000, and primarily because we added, in addition to athletic director, we added head football coach for this year, and increase in some stipends. In function 41, approximately the same, $1,157,383. Function 51, it's increase of $180,500 for $5,800,000. Mainly for two things. With the addition of these new buildings, our property insurance costs have increased because we have new facilities in there. The cost of property insurance and windstorm and hail, hurricane season coming up, the cost increased for estimate $100,000 for this next year. And then we also have a chiller that needs to be replaced at the support services building, which is, we call it it's where the maintenance department is located. And then, function 52, basically budgeting from 1 year to the next the same amount. Function 53, up just 25,000, and it's because we're going to upgrade some network equipment, primarily a server. And then function 61, approximately the same, 152,272. Debt increase for this local debt. This is not bonded debt. This is local debt that the district has, increasing for next year 313,000. It's because we have an actual new roof at the high school that was completed just this past year. So that's our first payment on the roof going forward is 313,000. And we also have to have a function 99, which came about 2 years ago, so we can highlight the cost of appraisal district to the district, Bay City ISD, and that's 275,000. So therefore, for the operating fund budget proposed without a raise is 38,815,921. So the net increase this year to last year is less than 1%, is 0.76%. And then interest and sinking is the other fund that we do pay our bonded debt. As part of the taxes the public pays, school taxes, our debt service on our bonded debt is $7,200,476 for next year, to be exact. And then the cost of the TASB models, this is some slides on the cost of the models for Model 1, 2, and 3, 1%, 2%, 3% increase for staff, all staff. Model 1 costs $328,345. Model 2, $556,309. Model 3, $808,087. And then also I have a schedule here for the debt service, and it's all in one schedule. So this ties back to what we just visited about. So the principal owed for bonded debt at the end of this year that we just completed, the amount of principal is $126,245,000. The payment is $7,201,500 for the current year we just finished, and the payment for next year is $7.2 million. That's for the principal payment. And then our maintenance and operation function 71 debt service for the roof. At the end of this year we just completed, we owe $3,045,000. Bay City High School remediation, which is a debt incurred I'm not exactly sure, 3 or 4 years back. $3,255,248, and we also have a 2009 efficiency upgrade that the district entered into in 2009 that we still owe on. We owe $1,549,000 for a total M&O debt, maintenance operation debt of $7,849,000. And our payments for that particular area is $1,126,300 for the current year that we're in. I know I went fast, but do we have any questions on that part?
I have a comment about the percentages that you talked about, the 1, the 2, and the 3. That's to the market average or value for those positions. It's not a flat percentage increase.
They call it a general pay increase. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you look on this model here, the general pay increase is 1. But there is minor adjustments of 0.3%. So the estimated total increase based upon the model is 1.3%. Yes, sir, Dr. Scott, that's correct. And for example, on Model 2, the general pay increase for all employee groups is 2%. But when it's estimated total based upon what we're paying right now, the total the employees are getting paid right now, it's a 2.2% increase. And then general pay increase to the market, yeah. General pay increase to the market of our area and also schools our size. So 3.2%.
So is it safe to say in layman's terms that everybody would be getting the 1, the 2, or the 3, and some people would be getting a little bit more to try to correct our pay scales?
Correct.
To the market?
Correct. Yes. That is correct.
So this is a public hearing, if anybody has any questions or comments from the board.
I do have a question about insurance of the old junior high. What, you spoke of all of the money we're spending on insurance. Is there a benefit? Can we reduce that insurance on that old junior high building, or does it have to be a certain amount?
You mean like, okay, for example, like what's left of the old junior high, like the 500 wing in the
The old, like, Bay City,
oh, Bay City Junior High,
The
I understand. Okay, yeah, reason why I was, because it's Bay City Intermediate, Bay
Yes.
City Middle School, and Bay City Junior High. So
yeah,
trying to decide, okay. I do know that they do a survey and there's a value.
right?
That the insurance company actually each year comes out and does a value, and they did this current year, where they base their insurance based on the value. And so, we can get with them as far as that's concerned and question that part. Also, because the building is being used by the city, but currently in the gym area for Parks and Rec, which is a good thing, because that's what that makes it, is that it's being utilized, so therefore it's not like a vacant building. So therefore, if it was vacant, then the interest rate, not the interest rate, premium would go up. But,
Mr. Rick, can I ask you a question?
of course.
With the, Lenny Roberts closing on my side of town, would the government give you guys some money if I wanted to have meetings with the parents over there at school at least once a month?
Yeah,
Like you said, you finna get a GPS something. Some of them may not know how to use it or control it. But would the government give y'all some extra funding so these teachers can get another type of raise? If somebody in the community is bringing the parents to the school once a month and they have them with their questions, and once we get the questions, we present the questions back to you guys and y'all work on it?
Well, the school district wouldn't get any additional money if you had meetings at Lenny Roberts, but it would be a situation, because basically, our funding is based on average daily attendance totally. So therefore, if kids are in school, and go to school, then that's how we're funded. But as far as, we do have, like a rental agreement, for example, if you want to, if the board so chooses to rent the building out going forward or whatever, like the cafeteria, then there's a form to fill out, and we have, the public, use our facilities in different ways.
So let me jump in.
Yes, sir.
And to give clarifying, I understand the question. Long term, and I've said this to some of the board members, we're gonna actually have to do a facility study with all of our buildings, Roberts, the intermediate, and all of the other buildings that we actually have that may be vacant or occupied at this time, to see what's going to be fiscally responsible. Some of the things that we may have done, and this will have to be, it's the board's decision, but as superintendent, I have to make recommendations to them that's fiscally responsible. The board's gonna have to decide whether or not we're gonna continue leasing buildings, what's the cost going to be to the community to still have the buildings open. We haven't gotten to that point about the current Roberts elementary school for the board, but it's absolutely something that we really truly need to talk about. And it's based on some practices that we've actually had that may not have been, we have some better solutions. Keeping vacant buildings or partially vacant buildings open based on the fiscal payoff is not really beneficial to the school district. I.e., it may cost us $60,000 to keep one building open, but the return on it for the school district may only be $2,000. Well, you keep doing that business over and over and over, the district is going to lose money out of the fund balance that we actually have. So it's kind of answering your question, will we get money by allowing the community to use it? The answer is no. What we're going to do overall with all of the buildings, including Lenny Roberts, that's going to be a conversation that the board's going to have within, I'm going to say definitely before this year ends. But we're gonna have we're gonna outsource that study, so somebody who knows about buildings can come in and tell.
So they still pay insurance?
Absolutely.
Our cost insurance on buildings that are not being used.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a waste of money, I think, where they can
Yes,
give that
ma'am.
money to the teachers.
Yes. Yes.
The insurance, that's because of his numbers, they're really, really
Yes.
gonna keep going up.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think her question, and I don't want to speak for you, but
Okay.
the junior high, our insurance rate is lower because the city's using it. I think what she's asking is if she uses it for some community purpose, would our insurance rate be lower? Would it at least save us some money on
Yeah.
insurance?
It wouldn't be as high. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, the fact that it's being used, it won't increase the amount. So we're like, if we weren't using the building, and the property insurance, they would have to be more risk of it, then it would actually go up.
Because I can
Nobody
get
seems
people
to.
involved.
So-
I'm that type of person to bring people
Yes, ma'am.
together for something like that. But I was listening to your insurance, and I don't think if you don't need the building, don't waste your insurance on it, put the money back into your employees.
So Rick, we really, as we're talking about this, we need to know what the difference is between having a building occupied and
Okay.
insurance
Now I can-
versus it being in.
Yes, sir. And I can check with her and Roger, and they can give me that figure.
Thank you.
And I have contacted TASB to start talking about the facility survey, but I haven't heard back from them.
Okay.
Anybody have additional questions?
Thank you for your work presenting this over and over.
Yes. That's a lot of numbers.
And answering all our
I think it's
questions.
about- probably, I think it's 4 times, but that's good. Because I learn things as I go through, you know, and so then it's good for me because I, like, for example, the communities and schools and stuff like that. So it's wonderful for me as a accounting person to really understand, you know, what we're spending money on things like that, for example. That's just an example. So it's okay.
I appreciate everybody too, that
Yeah.
helped with all the questions for the new people. So, appreciate it.
Okay, last call for questions from the public. So we will close public hearing on the discussion of the 2021-2022 budget at 6:47. And we will move to item B, approval of the 2021-2022 budget. Again, our presenter is Rick Johnson, Chief Financial Officer, Bay City Independent School District.
Mr. James, can I ask one more question? Mr. Rick?
Yes, ma'am.
When I was coming up, we had something called summer recreation.
Yeah, okay.
And if you want to get some more money for the state, for your staff, if you allow us to, I don't know how the insurance would go at Lenny Roberts, by allowing us to use that building in the community, to give the kids lunch, like on your thing, even in the summer, give them lunch, have somebody come and, how would you say, give them some type of education with the reading, the testing. This would be a ongoing thing. It just don't stop when school is out, to keep your money going. I mean, y'all wasted a lot of money. I seen the new building in the back of Lenny Roberts. I went there. I seen several big buildings there. It's a lot you can do when I'm listening to all those numbers, but, I would wanna keep Lenny Roberts open for something like that, cause across the street from Lenny Roberts is low income, the kids get left at home, parents are working, they just get left at home and unattended and have to try to figure things out by themselves. But if you allow us people to use the building, yes, you gotta look at the pay and all that kind of stuff with the free meals and somebody coming in to tutor the kids, to teach the kids. I think that would, help with some more money for you and a lot more money for your teachers and all your staff, because you really, really got a lot to do. But that's what I want to do in my community, is keep it going.
We also provide summer feeding program currently, we have for a few years, where we have breakfast and lunch every day.
Oh, they have that as products?
Yeah, I think the whole school district, right? would
Yeah,
be
yes.
For the summer, but let's have a discussion about that.
But I just want to let you know that, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
about the use of the building and the programs and things that we can actually use it. But why don't you and I and maybe one of the board member and Dr. Scott get him involved and talk about.
So let me jump in here, because the question you have and the recommendation that you're giving, that's, the board is gonna have a workshop for that. And we're gonna, like, we just had this workshop for the budget. I expect the board and the administration to invite the community in before any decisions are made. So any recommendations that you have, after we've actually done a facility study, it'll be posted in the newspaper on our websites. You will have every opportunity to come back, and you along with anyone else in the community, and then present your proposal at that time. Because Rick's on the spot right now, because he can't make that decision.
Yeah.
He's trying his best, but he can't, I can't make the decision.
None of us can.
It's really going to be.
I'll let you know, let you know, the summer feeding program, to answer that question there, we offer that opportunity for citizens and kids.
Thank you.
It's me. Okay, so we're gonna move to item B, approval of the 2021-2022 budget. Our presenter is Rick Johnson, Chief Financial Officer. And I think, Rick, we just have to discuss the merits of and.
Right, and correct, I want to show you this, we don't have to go through each one of these slides, but this is what, for example, this slide here that's here is the revenue slide that we've shown before on the PowerPoint. That this is what would be signed by the board president if there was, if they did not do it. And then this is the functions, the total expenditure budget, and then also this would be model 1, where the 1% rate, and so forth. We don't necessarily have to go through this like that, but I just want to be able to show the public and also the board, these are the documents that would be signed, depending on what model you pick. Either no rates, model 1, 2, or 3.
And so then at our last meeting, we discussed the merits of 1%, 2%, 3%, no percent. I think I have language here to make it a motion tonight. We need to make adjustments later in the year, but I think 1% raise with the possibility of doing more later in the year, if the budget allows, as sort of a fiscally responsible thing to do. 2% was also discussed. So I just want to open the floor for that discussion before anybody makes a motion. So I'll be quiet.
I think after all the discussion that we've had and looking at where we are deficit-wise in our fund balance and the road that we have ahead of us to try and build that balance back up, the most fiscally responsible action to take here is 1% with the option of addressing it in the middle of the year if ADA increases and other things improve. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. We want to be conservative, but we don't want to lose the ground that we've made the last couple of years trying to catch up and get our pay right, so I agree with that.
And like Rick has told us a number of times, a pay increase is forever, so everybody has to think about that. It rides with us forever in this budget, so.
I think to get back to where the fund balance is at the optimum, according to what was presented, I don't know when that was, but it only makes sense to do that, to do the 1% with the option of the December, depending on where our funds are. I would love to do something much bigger, but the funds are not there, and I don't think it's fiscally responsible of us to move forward with something high when we don't have the money available.
And I definitely agree with that. We said it last week, you don't want to jump out there and then have to come back and snatch it. I agree with that, and then come back, like you said, if our attendance goes up, definitely come back and visit, and we'd be more than happy to give our staff a day. So, it was
I kind of want to piggyback off what Jill said. was that, you know, if we could give more, we would. It's just that we're facing a deficit right now, and we're trying to be fiscally conservative regarding the budget. But the one thing that I want to hit home on more than anything is, you know, we're campaigning to reach out to our community and to our families and let them know the importance it is to have our children in school, not only for education purposes, so that they're learning, so that they're out of the element, but so that they're there to learn, and then also, I mean, that's how the school gets paid. That's how teachers get paid. I mean, it's not because, oh, the school's gonna get money because kids are at school. No, it's much more than that. It's how the system works, and that's unfortunately the nature of the beast. But you know what? I really believe we just need to hit it hard and, you know, let people know we're not trying to just get kids to come to school so that the school gets money. We're doing that because that's how we make our money. I mean, it's as simple as possible. And I really do support, just like everyone said, the 1% raise, and then we can look at things later on and see where we're able to, what we're able to do later on after we find out what our money looks like.
If Bob were here, he'd tell you how many years in a row we gave a raise. We got an update every year, and the count is astonishing. It's getting big. And so I'm happy to hear everybody say that that's what they want to do again and continue that. Because there are districts in the state that are having this difficult conversation tonight and are seriously considering not giving pay raises. ESSER funds didn't come into conversation tonight, and you know, we hope that that goes well, but that should put us in a decent position that I think a 1% general pay increase, and it's going to be more for some employees than others, right? But it serves two purposes. It lets our employees know that we appreciate the work that they've done, that we're not going to go from one year to the next with 0%. It gives us some flexibility to everybody works together to get attendance up, and get ADA up, and get kids enrolled, and do something later in the year if we can. So I like all the comments. Would somebody like to make a motion, or is there further discussion? I have the language right here. Just plug in whatever you want to plug in on the motion. So 1, 2, 3.
I make the motion to approve the 2021-22 expenditure budget as presented, which includes the TASB model. Number 1, compensation plan for a 1% general pay increase for all employees to consider immediate 1-year retention pay that is contingent upon the availability of funds.
Can I have it back so I can repeat the motion? I can't remember all that. All right, motion been made by Trustee Robinson to approve the 2021-2022 expenditure budget as presented, which includes the TASB Model 1 compensation plan for a 1% general pay increase for all employees, and to consider a mid-year one-time retention payment that is contingent upon the availability of the funds. Is there a second to her motion?
I'll second it.
Motion's been seconded by Trustee Westmoreland. All those in favor, well, first of all, is there any further discussion?
And this, I'll introduce, and it's actually, it's to the midpoint, just so everybody realizes.
So does something need to be changed in the motion?
I think as long as we use model 1.
And TASB model.
It's to the midpoint.
Okay.
Mechanics of it's to the midpoint, but
Okay.
we refer to it as TASB model 1.
Yep. You're not talking about the timing of the retention vote. You're talking about the midpoint of the pay scale.
Right.
That's model 1. Understood. Any further discussion? Any further questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. The motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much.
We got to get our kids in school.
So if I may.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank the board for recognizing the hard work of our employees. You have a tough job to do, sitting in the seats that you sit in. Compensation is not always an easy subject when you don't have the funds. I truly know that each of you would definitely give the largest increase that we possibly could. I also want to thank you all for participating in this process. I would tell you, for me personally, it's probably more workshops than we've ever had on the budget, but it was meaningful. I'm not pointing you out, Trustee. No, but I actually learned some things that I did not know about our compensation piece as well. So I think the process was really meaningful. To Trustee DeWitt's point, we have to start doing business differently in our schools. You know, the one day that little Marshall's not there, and trust me, I'm speaking from experience as a teacher, and you're happy because he's not there, because you know how little Marshall behaves. We still have to get little Marshall to come and reach out just as we would any other kid, because the bottom line is, if he's not there consistently, he's not there, then we can't do the business that we want to do, celebrating our teachers. We cannot do the business of the additional incentives that we want to put forward. So we hardly ever talk about the business end of students and attendance, but now with the budget crunch, this is something that we really truly have to do. I want to take my hat off to the principals, who are actually, I know, working now on incentive plans and getting our kids and making it fun, but also involving our teachers and getting them to school every single day. So hats off to you all as well.
I think we talked about ADA percentages more this year than ever, so I think everybody has kind of a better understanding of that, the teachers have a better understanding of that, the staff does, I hope the community understands that, we gotta get our kids to school. And it helps everybody, it helps our teachers, it helps our kids, it helps everybody, so.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
The reason why, I just want to piggyback off what Dr. Scott said, I mean, it's imperative, it's important, and I don't think it should be like it's a secret or anything, but we need to get our kids in school, again, one, for education, that's how they can learn, and then two, is again, that's how we get our funding. So I think it's important that we reach out to the parents and family via Facebook, emails, text, just a mass communications effort to say, hey, let's make sure our kids are going to be in school. Again, every day, but especially during the time that they really check, so, because it's so important. And if we keep doing, we're going to get the same results if we keep doing the same thing. We're going to have to think outside the box and do something different in order to get something different that we've never had. So,
Mr. John, when I get ready to have my meeting before school start, what should be a topic that I tell the people about attendance?
So we can't, we're out of, I hate to be technical, we're out of public part of the agenda or the meeting, but trust me, let's follow up afterwards and
Yes.
see if we can, I know you have a back to school event, and you invited me to it, I plan on being there.
Okay.
So we'll get trustee DeWitt to that as well, and any other board members and superintendent that we can, so. But I hate that we can't engage with you, but I'm just trying to stay.
It's understandable.
Can I say one thing real quick? And it goes back to what Grant presented last week at our workshop of letting people know what our district offers. So I think with the plan that Grant has presented that's moving forward and with where we are and the knowledge that we have, I think us working together, it's going to help. But those kids have to be in the seats for multiple reasons. And the number one, yes, it's money, but it's our education. And if they're not sitting in that seat, then they're not gonna learn. So if we want kids to be successful and to have the best opportunity, then we need them in the seat. Not because of the funding, but because of the education.
Okay, item 7, items of business, letter C. Discussion and possible approval of a second plaque with the current board members' names. Trustee Robinson, let you lead the conversation.
I am going to try to talk real loud so Coach Charlo can hear me. I see this week he's moving closer. Can you hear me, Coach? I'm sorry that y'all don't always hear me. Some years ago, I had a tough surgery. So toward the end of the day, I kind of lose my voice. So today I tried not to talk as much. But it's still, for some reason, toward the end of the day, it kind of goes away, Coach. I asked the board back in May if my name could be added to the board plaque. And that plaque is a plaque that is placed in the new building for those city board members that worked tirelessly for that bond to be passed. I was not on that board, and I do understand the work that those members did to get that bond passed. The reason I asked if my name could be placed on that plaque is because of my service to the community and because of my position now on the board. I did a little bit more research this time than I did the first time that I asked. I went back and I looked at each of our bios. And as I was reading our bios, I found that we had some things in common. The first thing that jumped out is that we are all children of Christ. That resonated deep in my heart. Because the one thing that I strive more than anything is that when I leave this side, that I have a home up there. I am difficult to work with, but I always strive to do what's right. And that's what we have in common here on the board. The second thing that we have in common as board members is that we believe that every child deserves the very best education. That dug deep in my heart. We all have paid our dues in this community. Believe it or not, I even tried coaching, and I sucked at it. I remember one time I embarrassed my son so bad that he walked off McAllister Field, Coach Ryan, and said, "Mama, would you please sit down?" I didn't know. I saw the ref do this, and he was playing football. Patrick was running, and I said, "He is not traveling." You don't travel in football. Everybody laughed, and I'm thinking, why are you laughing? You don't travel in football. Patrick tucked his head, came to the sideline, Coach Rahon. I think we were playing Bay City Junior. He said, "Mama, sit down." I said, "What did I do wrong?" He said, "Mama, sit down." After the game, he said, "Mama, don't yell anymore." I'm still asking, "What did I do wrong?" He said, "Mama, that wasn't for travel." Okay, I sat. I found out that it didn't mean that. They needed to find another way of saying that it was a wet trip. When you're doing this on the football, and then you go, "What is that travel? What is that?" But it wasn't traveling. It was for something else. But I thought it was traveling, doing the football game. Only that was basketball game. But anyway, I was wrong. I tried coaching basketball, didn't know what I was doing. I tried coaching track, didn't know what I was doing, but my son played. And that's what you do as a single mom. You do all of this stuff. So we had that in common. But the only other thing we didn't have in common, but Jill and I do, is that we teach. Jill and I are educators. only difference is that I have been in education for a long, long, long time. These guys can be my children. They can be my grandchildren. My work in this community, I hope has made a difference. We received letters from community members asking the board if my name could be placed on the plaque. I want my name because I have history over at Roberts. Roberts was my elementary school. I went to school at Roberts. I can tell you every classroom that I was taught in. My third grade classroom was the class that I had the honor of teaching my second grade class in. How awesome is that? Lady Roberts was the place where I was able to be the first African-American assistant principal. I retired from Lady Roberts in 2005. I want to believe that I made a difference there. I know I grew up, I matured there. I was taught that it was a big difference between the old projects and the Ville. I take pride telling people I was raised in South Park home, and that the only difference between South Park's home and the village was the name. The lady that I became good friends with pulled me to the side. She told me, "You stop telling that story." She said, because you was a privileged black kid. The projects was like he was living in the White House. And I said, no, we was poor. She said, no, you weren't. She said, how many fights did y'all have in the projects? I said, girl, we fought every day. She said, no. She said, I'm talking about fights where you actually saw blood and guts. I said, we didn't see that. She said, how many times did you see people killed in the projects? I said, we never saw anyone killed in the projects. She said, how many nights did you go hungry? I said, I never went hungry. She said, see, you was a privileged black girl. So you need to stop telling that story. She said, well, you don't know what it's like. So I learned a lot. So I grew up. And I
changed my whole thought. And I began to see things differently. I began to teach differently. I began to accept kids differently. I began to see a whole world. I began to see kids differently. I began to see people differently. And I began to change my heart. So when I stepped outside that building, when I saw a dirty, snotty-nosed kid and a witch Mary, I decided that they were the same. That when I saw snotty-nosed Johnny and rich Mary, that I could still teach both and expect the same outcome. Because they were both kids. And it was all about expectations. And just because I was poor didn't mean that I could not learn. So I began to see things differently. So when I walk now through the streets of Bay City, and when I started making my mark in Bay City, and when I started doing things differently in Bay City, and when I started looking through different lenses, I think I made a difference. And when I left in 2005, I thought I was done, but I wasn't. I was called back. I opened and designed a behavior unit at Cherry for what they call a unit for kids that was emotionally disturbed. Those kids, I saw me in them, because I would have been in that class training. I was like those kids. I gravitate to those kids that other teachers don't want. I connect with them. I have built my reputation. I have made my mark in Bay City. I have done my job for 40 plus years. I walk the streets of Bay City. Sometimes people speak to me and I think, why do you know me? Well, how did you know me? But people know Priscilla Robinson. So when I leave this side, I want to be remembered. But I want to be remembered at the place that I started from. And Lenny Roberts gave me back. He gave me hope. It molded me into the person I am today. That's why I think my name deserves to be on that plaque. And I would like for you as the board tell me why you think I should not be on that. We all, as board members, starting today, because we are board members. If we are going to sit on this board and we have new facilities from this day forward, if that building is not open, I think we deserve to be on a plaque at any new facility. As a board member. From this day forward, I think everyone that's sitting been finished. But we was there because not any of us dug a show in that ground. But we are sitting on this board. We've done, we are doing, we are making a difference. And I think we should be honored. That is. So, board members, that's my story. And here I am. So tell me, I told you my story. Tell me why you think that I should. And I mentioned that.
So I have a couple questions. The second plaque, what is the cost of that? Second, what would the cost be? Does anyone have an idea?
Oh, yes. If it's about the same size as the other one, I think it's like $1,000.
$1,000. Is that where, and this is, sorry, I'm new, where does that money, where would that come from?
So I never received a final response from our bond council, but it's not coming out of bond money. So it would come out of this deficit budget. But it's not a very large amount in retrospect.
Right.
But it, yeah.
So I guess my second question would be, are you requesting the second plaque, or are you saying, because I heard at the end you say, anyone that sat at this table during this project, we've made decisions on this building. Are you wanting this to only be one plaque with the board members that it was adopted with, the bond passed, and then current board members, are you okay with it being one plaque? Can we even do that?
So I want to clarify that the flag that was approved a month ago, it's already installed.
Okay.
So this would be a flag.
Okay.
Just to clarify, this part of the bond project was the construction plaque, and it lists the architect, it lists the construction, it lists who was the superintendent at the time, it lists the board that approved the project, and then we voted to add the additional members of the board members who were on the time of the approval of the bond. And so then that was approved. So that's not being changed because that's not even on the agenda tonight, and that's already done.
So that's,
So this is putting another extra plaque up.
With the current
With-
board,
Yes.
for $1,000-ish.
Depends on size.
Well, if I could speak, so that, you know, that story that you told is just, it's a remarkable story. Something that, you know, a lot of people haven't experienced and never been through. And, you know, and that's something not to be taken lightly, because nobody knows the shoes that you walked in. You know, just like people don't know the shoes I walked in. You know, that some think that some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth, some people think that they've had it rough all their life. You know, people have generalities of different people and everything. And you have a story. I mean, really, some of the book can be written about from what you told me. But what I want to say is the story that you have is unique and it's special. And the work that you've done in this community is unique and it's special. And I know you hold it right here. I know you do. And a lot of people experience that, just like when you bump into people, they say, you know, you don't know me or anything, but I'm so-and-so, and that type of thing, and you meet them, and you don't remember who they are. And the only thing that I disagree with on this, adding a second plaque, is because it sets a precedent. And let me say what I'm talking about. Because there's a number of educators and administrators and principals and teachers who have a story. And as brilliant as it would be to have a plaque and something in every school to honor every single person that has dedicated all their service and their life to education, I guess we can do it, I guess, I don't know. But if we're talking about this particular situation, I mean, we're getting into an area where we have, I mean, I love my name on the football field, even though I went home that much. Coach Strong can attribute to that. But, you know, and to bring it back to reality, that's the only reason why I would say, because we've done that. I mean, there's a plaque on Tenia Homes, there's a plaque on the junior high, there's a plaque on the new football field. And it was the board that passed it. And I want to say this, I want to say this is nothing personal. Because if it was personal, I'd say, let's get it. We're already in a deficit, we'll pay that $1,000. It's nothing personal. It's just about setting a precedent going forward, about people being on plaques, on buildings that are being built. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And I know you don't agree with me, but that's where we agree to disagree. That's how I feel.
Mr. John, if I give you $1,000 for, would she get her name on the board?
I'm sorry, we had public comments on, I can't. I apologize, ma'am.
Nobody sitting at this table is qualified to decide whether or not you deserve to be on the flag, because that's not our job. I mean, as far as what you've done in this community, nobody here is going to question your mark that you made in this city. I think that our job as a board is to be responsible with, fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars and that kind of thing. But like I said, as far as whether or not you deserve to be on the flag, I mean, that's not for me or anybody really to decide, honestly. Because, I mean, I feel like you do deserve to be on the flag.
May I ask y'all, that tells me one or two things. Either y'all ignore the emails and didn't read it, because it was a couple of emails that said, if it came down to monies, that they would pay. Did y'all not see that? Or was that just, did you not read it?
I read it. So aside from the financial impact, I align a little closer to John's sentiments. I feel like there's no question that you've done amazing things in a very, very long career in education. And quite frankly, you were probably there with Lee Roberts when I was there. But there's so many other educators that are involved here that could potentially be deserving. I don't know where you would draw that line, and since we've set the precedent with the existing schools, that's just how I feel about it.
And all of that is good and fine, but let me tell you what I tell parents and teachers when I go to a parent-teacher meeting. If those other educators, if those other board members, if those others, whatever, wanted their names placed somewhere, they would have come to you. I am not one of those others. They didn't come and ask you, I'm asking you. So really, I am not concerned about what if the others, or if we are setting this, I am asking you. So I don't want to hear what if others, if those others wanted their names, let them come to you and ask. I am asking you. I don't want to hear about others. Just like if you go to a parent-teachers meeting and they start bringing up the other 24 kids or whatever in that meeting, don't do that. So don't do it to me. If they wanted it, they come to you, they ask. I am asking you. So the answer to me right now is no. Let me tell you this. I am relentless. If you tell me no tonight, then Mr. President, I'm coming back to you next month. You tell me no next month, Mr. President, I'm coming back to you the next month. And Mr. President, if you tell me no again, I'm coming back to you the next month. So I am relentless. So make the motion and let's move on and we're going to be to business. That's how I feel.
So can I ask you one thing real quick?
You can ask me whatever.
Okay. It's public record was the discussion of possible approval of the second plaque with the current board members' names on it. Okay. So how did they know? Did you talk to people and tell them to email us?
We got letters. Did you read it?
No, I know, but how did they know it was specifically you? It didn't say Priscilla Robinson It said board members' name.
It
Did you?
said board members.
Right, so, but it
So
had
did
your
you-
name on there, so did you contact people in the community to tell them to write letters and email us?
What did you?
No, I'm just asking because I just want clarity, because you said people
Did you
email.
read it? I asked if you read it.
Oh, I did read it, yes, ma'am. So my question, okay, so I'm answering your question, so if you can answer my question, did you contact community members to email us and write letters to add your name onto the plaque? Or did they simply know?
No.
No, you did not?
No.
Okay.
Is there, are there any questions? Is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion, Mr. President. We don't have to have a motion, okay?
You can, I'm not telling you not to.
No, I understand.
Is there a motion to be made? Trustee Robinson, would you like to make a motion?
I make the motion that the name, that our names be placed on the second flag at Linda Ross, elementary school.
Motion's been made by trustee Robinson to add a second plaque with the current board members' names on it at the new Lenny Roberts Elementary. Is there a second to her motion? Motion's been made by trustee Robinson. Is there a second to her motion? The motion dies for lack of a second. Item D, approval of employment of personnel. And
Do you want me to say that? I thought that not to line off in there, because it would just be presented.
as presented, are you not presenting them anymore? I don't see why you have to.
That's what I was, that's okay.
We remove presenters' names because we don't need a presenter for everything, but, yeah.
So the
I can do the
administration-
presentation from now on.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's okay, I misunderstood. So the administration recommends the approval of the personnel as presented in board book.
Is there any individual that any trustee would like to discuss in closed session? Hearing none, is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve appointment of personnel as in the board book.
Motion's been made by trustee DeWitt to approve the employment of personnel as presented in board book. Is there a second to his motion? Second. Motion's been seconded by trustee Tenon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Hearing none, the motion passes 6-0. E, approval of the consent agenda. And before I read these, we'll be omitting 7. Item 7 will not be considered tonight. It will be on the July regular board meeting. Approval of the consent agenda. 1, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. A, the special board meeting from May 5th, 2021. B, the regular board meeting from May 17th, 2021. D,
That's supposed to be Steve.
C, okay. The board workshop meeting, May 25th, 2021. 2, approval of the May financial report. 3, budget amendment number 3. 4, approval of the bank bid with Prosperity Bank. 5, approval of the calendar 2021-2022 revision. 6, first reading of DCE local employment practices, other types of contracts. And then 8, approval to apply for the elementary and secondary school emergency relief 3 funds, also known as ESSER 3. Is there any item that any trustee would like to remove from the consent agenda for separate consideration? Hearing none, is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion's been made by trustee DeWitt to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second to his motion? I saw her finger, so we'll go with trustee Westmoreland has seconded the motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Hearing none, the motion passes 6-0. Item 8, superintendent's report. Dr. Scott.
Thank you. In your board book, you will find the monthly statements from Paper and Associates. Also, you will find the resignation form for this month. Just first, I want to thank the board for its commitment to recognizing the employees with the salary increase that we have over the years, and being competitive continuing to be competitive with surrounding districts and even leading the mark in other areas. And lastly, just want to say to the board, we talk about the team of 8, and that's where we're going. We have meetings that are coming up very soon. I really and truly, I'm encouraged that the team of 8 with myself and the other 7 trustees here will become a reality. Is that we work on the exact same things, we have the exact same focus for the sake of the kids in the community. I honestly can tell you that as a superintendent, I want to talk about the work with kids. I want to spend the majority of our time talking about what's best for our employees. And that's to every single person on here. I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about other things that are dealing with adults who are not employed yet. So everybody who's sitting here, let's get back to why we all committed to doing this, why I chose this as a profession, and why you all swore you took an oath to do what's in the best interest of kids. I'm probably out of place right now, but I'm okay, because I want to charge each of you to let's start having conversations about students. Let's start having conversations about teaching and learning. That's our focal point. I came here to do what's in the best interest of students every single day, day in and day out. And the more I find myself engaged in discussions that are not aligned with that, it just makes me think of we really focusing on the main thing. And the main things that we focus on is kids in the school district and the adults and the teachers in the school district. I'm off my soapbox, Mr. President.
Thank you, and I'll just echo the sentiment. I'm excited for the new school year and what we have. I hope we can get started, get all of our kids in school, see the smiling faces this year. Hope we can have everybody healthy and do that safely. I hope to have agendas full of items about student outcomes and have productive conversations around how we help each and every one of our students making progress in their academics. And so we've made a lot of ground, and it's time to charge and build on that ground that we've made. So, item 9, adjournment. Motion been made by Trustee Murray to adjourn. Is there a seconded motion?
I second.
Motion's been seconded by Trustee Westmoreland. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Hearing none, motion passes 6-0. We will take all the